Good evening. My name is Ben Edwards, and I am running for the position of Solicitor General of Bulloch County. Good evening. My name is Ben Edwards, and I am running for the position of Solicitor General of Bulloch County. I would like to begin by thanking the Bulloch County Republican Party and all of Georgia for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. One of the most common questions I've been asked during the campaign is, what is a Solicitor General? The Solicitor General is the elected official responsible for the prosecution of all misdemeanor crimes that occur here in Bulloch County for which the maximum penalty is 12 months or less. The Solicitor General oversees an office that is comprised of an assistant solicitor, a victim advocate, and a legal secretary, and is responsible for managing a caseload of over 3,000 traffic cases and over 2,000 misdemeanor cases per year. Let me take a moment to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Egypt, Georgia, in northern Effingham County, just 24 miles from where I am right now. When I was growing up, when my parents said that we were going to town, it meant that we were coming to Statesboro. I spent my freshman year of college as a student at Georgia Southern University. I then moved on to the University of Georgia, where I received my degree in criminal justice in 2000 and graduated from the University of Georgia School of Law in December of 2002. While in law school, I focused my coursework on preparing to become a prosecutor by completing the prosecutorial clinic program. After 3 years serving as an assistant district attorney in the Valdosta area, I received an opportunity to come home, and my wife and I chose to make Statesboro our home in 2006, and we have been here ever since. My wife Mandy, who I met while at UGA, and I just celebrated our 18th wedding anniversary this past week. We have 2 daughters, Allie, who is 15, and Eliza, who is 11. After spending 5 months working in private practice, I realized that my true calling was to be a prosecutor, and I have been working in our local district attorney's office since the fall of 2006. Throughout my 17-year career, I have served as the lead prosecutor on over 4,000 cases. Since joining our district attorney's office, I have served as lead prosecutor for over 3,000 felony cases throughout the circuit. I have been the lead prosecutor for over 40 jury trials, including those involving murder, rape, armed robbery, child molestation, domestic violence, assault, burglary, theft, drug offenses, and traffic offenses. I have authored approximately 20 appellate briefs and have had the opportunity to present oral arguments in front of our state's appellate courts. Community is very important to me as well. I feel that in order to adequately serve your community in an elected position, you need to be involved in that community long before you decide to run. I come from a family of public servants. My father was coroner in Effingham County for almost a decade, and my mother was a special education teacher. I was raised in church and serving is part of who I am. Our family has been deeply involved at First Baptist Church since joining in 2006. My wife and I have served as co-leaders of the 11th grade Sunday school class for over 4 years. I previously served on our church's Policies and Procedures Committee from 2010 to 2013. I am also a 2018 graduate of the Leadership Bulloch Program through the Statesboro Bulloch County Chamber of Commerce. I am a member of the Downtown Rotary Club of Statesboro, for which I have served as the Public Relations Chair since 2017 and routinely participate in the club's community service projects such as the quarterly Willie Mattel Trail Cleanup. If elected, my goal is to efficiently manage the caseload of the Solicitor's Office by ensuring that cases move through the court system in a timely manner, while also protecting the rights of all parties, both victims and defendants, that appear before the court. Specifically, this office has the responsibility of prosecuting each matter based on the facts specific to the case, while also taking into consideration how similarly situated individuals are treated in order to promote consistency in administering justice. While results are important, success should not be measured simply by wins and losses, but instead whether justice was done in each case. I plan to run an office that is fiscally responsible with taxpayer money by effectively prosecuting all cases in a timely and consistent manner. Ultimately, Efficiency is achieved only when justice is done for all concerned. Achieving this goal requires an experienced prosecutor with the ability to be firm when the facts demand such, and compassionate when the circumstances are compelling and the law allows. I humbly ask for your vote for Solicitor General of Bulloch County, whether you are voting by absentee ballot or in person. To learn more about me, visit my website, votebenedwards.com, or like our Facebook page. Thanks again to the Bulloch County Republican Party and all on Georgia for this opportunity.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Finley, and I am excited and proud to be running for the position of Bulloch County Solicitor General. I would like to take a moment to thank the Bulloch County Republican Party and all on Georgia for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. This campaign season has been surrounded by novel circumstances, one of which being trying to communicate with voters during a time of social distancing. These opportunities have become all the more important, and we are so thankful to have this time with you. I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about myself. I'm from Bulloch County. I grew up here. I graduated from Statesboro High School and Georgia Southern University. I'm currently employed as the lead felony prosecutor for cases investigated by the Bulloch County Sheriff's Office, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, and the Georgia State Patrol for Bulloch County. My husband Spencer and I live here with our son Sam. My parents, Perry and Connie Sumner, live here and own the local business Pojo's alongside my aunt and uncle Phil and Hope Sumner. My brother Michael Sumner and his wife Tara live here with their 3 boys, Griff, Brant, and Paxton. And we all live within approximately 5 miles of my grandparents, Jimmy and Teresa Sumner. I focus my personal and professional life on being invested and involved within this community. My family is active at First Baptist Church, a congregation I was blessed to grow up in, and now where I worship alongside 4 generations of my family. I'm a Sunday school teacher there and was a former Wednesday night group leader. Within our community, I've participated in Leadership Bulloch, the Linda Brandon Williamson Leadership Academy, and have served as president and vice president of the Bulloch County Bar Association. My family also volunteers regularly with the Open Hearts Community Mission, a place we love dearly. I have been preparing for this position of being an elected prosecutorial leader in Bulloch County since I was very young. I focused my studies, my internships, and my career on that goal. In 2014, I was honored to graduate from the University of Georgia School of Law as the top prosecutorial clinician in my class. That award was based, in part, on my internships within the Office of the District Attorney in Bulloch County under the direct supervision of Mr. Richard Mallard. District Attorney Mallard was able to offer me an assistant district attorney's position directly out of law school, and since that time, I have acquired one of the most significant caseloads in our circuit. In the last 6 years, I have prosecuted some of the most serious and violent offenses to come through Bulloch County, and I have done so honestly, diligently, compassionately, and fairly. I know that I have the reputation for being a tough felony prosecutor, and quite honestly, that is a reputation that I am not afraid of. I've secured life sentences in cases of murder, rape, and sexually based offenses against children, cases in which this community needed a strong but fair and compassionate felony prosecutor to represent its citizens and advocate on behalf of its victims. There's been a great deal of conversation during this election season surrounding the word experience, and I am proud to say that I am a very experienced prosecutor and that I am experienced where it matters, right here in Bulloch County. I want Bulloch County to know that they can entrust their vote with me and be certain that I will remain steadfast if given this opportunity. I am committed, I am forthright, I am compassionate, and I am fair. I have spent a great deal of time over the last year meeting with various members of our community who are currently working in or previously served in the State Court of Bulloch County. I have learned about the position. I've inquired about the differences between being an assistant district attorney, focusing on felony cases, and being the elected prosecutor for misdemeanor offenses in state court. I've learned about the caseload. I've learned about the differences in pace between superior and state court, and I have valued the guidance and wisdom of a wide cross-section of our legal community who have dedicated their time to that court. I feel prepared to take on this role, and I can promise you that you will not find a candidate more passionate or who approaches their position with more conviction and compassion than I do. I have spent my career in the courtroom advocating on behalf of the state and of the people and for the people of Bulloch County. And it would be my absolute honor to be able to continue to do so in the role of Solicitor General. As such, I humbly ask for your support, your continued guidance, your consideration, and your vote on June the 9th. In the meantime, if you would like additional information about my campaign or the election, please feel free to reach out to me directly. You can reach me through email at finley4bullochsolicitor@gmail.com, or please visit my website at finley4solicitor.com. We'd also love to have you follow our Facebook page, and please feel free to send me a direct message if you have any questions or concerns. I've been responding to those personally, and I do intend to continue to do so. Thank you again for your time, and may God continue to bless our wonderful community.
Hello, I'm Marc Lanier. I'm a candidate for Bulloch County Solicitor General. I've prosecuted thousands of misdemeanor and traffic citations since I began working in the Solicitor General's office in January of 2017. I was your previous assistant solicitor, and I'm currently the acting solicitor of Bulloch County. I'm the right choice for Solicitor General because I'm the only candidate that's worked in the Solicitor General's office. I have the necessary hands-on experience to continue doing the job that I do each and every day. I've done the job, I'm doing the job now, and with your vote and your support, I'll continue to do the job that I love. I'm honored to serve Bulloch County. I grew up here, I was born here, I'm from here, my family is here. I also built a life here just like many of you have. Your solicitor's office prosecutes approximately 2,000 misdemeanor cases each year and approximately 3,500 traffic cases each year. These cases can vary from family violence battery to a simple seatbelt citation. Ladies and gentlemen, 5,500 cases a year is work. It's not a position. And this is work that I enjoy doing each and every day. Bulloch County needs a candidate that has the necessary hands-on experience managing this caseload. I'm not here to be judge. I'm not here to advance my career. I'm here to do a job that I love. I'm here to do a job that I've been doing. I ask for your vote so that I may continue to support my community and that I may continue to do a job that I love. A vote for me is a vote for on-the-job experience. Experience that I learned in defense, experience that I learned in prosecution, and experience that I learn each and every day prosecuting cases in the Solicitor General's office. More importantly, ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you get out and vote. Get out and vote whatever way you feel is safe, whether it be in person or whether it be by absentee ballot. This virus has already taken enough, and we don't need it to impede our right to vote. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for allowing me to serve Bulloch County. I've truly enjoyed my job, and I truly enjoy serving this community. I ask that you please vote for Marc Lanier for Solicitor General of Bulloch County. Thank you, and God bless.
Hello, my name is Kurt Deal, and I'm seeking to be re-elected to seat 2A on the Bulloch County Board of Commissioners. First, I would like to thank the Bulloch County Republican Party for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit about myself and my family. Anyone that knows me knows that I love Bulloch County, and I'm proud to have lived here the past 34 years. Jenny, my high school sweetheart and wife of 26 years, is a Bulloch County native. We have had the opportunity to raise our 3 children, Hannah, Harrison, and Hallie, here in the great county. Bulloch County has offered a safe and nurturing environment for us, from schools, church, and recreational activities. I graduated from Statesboro High School in 1990. I attended Georgia Southern before earning a mortuary science degree from Gupton Jones College in Atlanta. During my career, I have served the funeral industry as both a sales consultant and a funeral director. I am a member of First Baptist Church and an active member on the media ministry team. I have served as a deacon on the Finance Committee and a ministerial search committee. In serving the citizens of Bulloch County, my faith and Christian beliefs play a major role in how I respond and react as a public servant and business owner. Being a public servant is key in being successful. I chose the funeral industry because my heart is in helping others during the most difficult time of their life. A servant's heart is part of who I am, and serving as a county commissioner involves me doing just that, as well as carefully making decisions that are best for each citizen I represent. During my first year, I attended 66 hours of classes to become a certified county commissioner through the Carl Vinson Institute of Government at the University of Georgia. The classes have helped me expand my knowledge in many areas of the county government. The past 4 years, our Board of Commissioners have worked exceptionally well together. I, myself, am just one of 6 other commissioners. We have maintained a stable financial condition while maintaining low property taxes. This can be contributed to careful budgeting and planning. In 2019, we reached a sufficient level of rainy day funds. With the current COVID-19 pandemic, our financial strength will be put to the test for our county. However, on March 14th, Bulloch County was able to initially set aside $100,000 for the Bulloch County Health Department for emergency purchases due to the coronavirus pandemic. Some of our accomplishments, I say we have been able to bring to fruition: the building of the agricultural arena and the new Senior Citizens Center, the expansion of the public service radio system with 3 new towers in strategic locations in the county, and the expansion that is ongoing at the Sheriff's Department. We also continue to work to expand the county fire department to full-time service to better serve the rural fire districts. Workshops are ongoing to improve our transportation and sanitation departments. Bulloch County has a current population of over 76,000, and we're still growing. There will always be challenges in maintaining over 500 miles of dirt roads. During my past 4 years as commissioner, I feel like I have been available and open to talk to individually when called upon. Thanks to all who have stood behind me and continue to support me while in office. I look forward to serving as your county commissioner in Seat 2A for 4 more years. Thank you.
Testing. Good evening. My name is Lawton Sack on behalf of All on Georgia and the Bulloch County Republican Party. We thank you for tuning in tonight for our Sheriff's Foreman here in Bulloch County. We have with us tonight our current Sheriff, Noah Brown, and his Republican opponent, Mr. Keith Howard. We're going to begin this evening by allowing Sheriff Brown to give his opening statement. Sheriff.
Good evening, Bulloch County. My name is Noah Brown, your sheriff here in Bulloch County. I want to take a moment here to thank the Bulloch County GOP. I think it's All on Georgia and some others involved in putting us on. Also, Keith Howard here, sitting to my side here. All of us being here this evening to be informative, try to give y'all some information on some issues at hand. Real quick, I want to let you know, again, seeking re-election for sheriff in this county, running Republican, on a Republican ticket on June the 9th. Every vote counts, folks. Make sure that you get out and vote. Early voting's already started. Let's make that happen. A bit of background. Very proud of a mother and father that gave me life up in Portal, Georgia, many years ago, and raised me hard coming up on the farm up there. I love them for that. They taught me a strong work ethic at a very young age that carried on right on through my high school years. Graduated from Portal High School in 1988, and later joining the United States Air Force in 1989. I spent 4 years in the United States Air Force. After finishing my career my time in the United States Air Force, when returning back home, I started my career in law enforcement. That was by getting my post-certification down at Armstrong State University, and later starting work at Georgia Southern, where I worked there for 5 years. Later being hired by the Bulloch County Sheriff's Office, then Sheriff Honorary Akins, in 1988. One term under Sheriff Akins, 2001 Sheriff Lynn Anderson took over. I served 4 terms under him, working for him. It was a pleasure to work for both. Learned a lot. 2016, upon announcement of Sheriff Akins or Sheriff Anderson's retirement, I run for sheriff, and the citizens of this county voted me in as your sheriff. It has been an honor for the last 3.5 years to serve as your sheriff, and want to continue to serve as your sheriff. Know that I love each and every one of you. I appreciate what you've done as far as encouragement and keeping me up to speed on the needs of the county and talking to me, and also being supportive of things we need at the sheriff's office. One last thing, I want to reach out to my family, to my wife Laura, my daughter Dakota, and 2 stepsons, Hunter and Cole. I thank them for standing by me and dealing with a lot of things I have to deal with on a daily basis, 24/7. We love you. We thank you. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening and talk to you.
Thank you, Sheriff Brown. Now we'll hear from Keith Howard. Mr. Howard.
Hello, everyone. My name is Keith Howard, and I'm honored to be here tonight and ask for your vote as the next sheriff of Bulloch County. Again, I echo the sheriff's sentiments as far as those that took the time to get all this together, and I appreciate it. I wish we could have done more. Maybe there'll be some more after this. With the coronavirus being the way it is, we just haven't been able to get out and politic like we were accustomed to. As a lifelong resident of Bulloch County, I have the experience, passion, and vision to make our growing county even better and safer now, and more importantly, for the years to follow. As a God-fearing Trump 2020 supporter and Brian Kemp Republican supporter, I have a clear plan and a vision to why I should become your next sheriff, and they are as following: being transparent, being trustworthy, accountable, and tough on crime. As far as transparent, you know, that's the thing today is law enforcement's changed, and we got to let the public know what's going on, not hide behind the doors, get out with the media, and let things be as they be. Stand beside our people and go through the good and the bad. As far as trustworthy, you got to be able to have someone in office, a sheriff that you can trust with your money, trust to look after your kids, trust to look after you, and I promise as sheriff I'm going to do that. As far as accountable is a big word, and it covers a lot of territory. As sheriff, you're dealing with the taxpayers' money. He's got to be accountable, or she, with that money, and you've got to be able to trust them to spend that money in a wisely manner. With this coronavirus the way it is, no telling what 2021 is going to bring as far as the low SPLOST revenue and budget as a whole. So you're going to have to be accountable with the money more than ever now. As far as tough on crime, y'all, I'm sure, have watched the media past couple of days. The impact team here at Statesboro Police Department done a whale of a job on a drug arrest here off Highway 67 and Hawthorne 2 apartments. I want to get that back at the sheriff's office as a drug interdictor in my days in law enforcement. It's got to be done. We got to do everything to combat our gangs, our crime, and all avenues. It all comes to one thing. I also want to let everyone to know that God has blessed me with a beautiful family. My wife, Gail, children, Hannah and Keith. Also, to be a successful small business owner. Always through the tough and through the hard, God's blessed us, and we've made it through the struggles, and we've always succeeded. I got a career serving the citizens as a firefighter, a state trooper, and deputy and chief deputy up in Jenkins County, and I loved it. Hated I had to get out of it, but had the opportunity to leave and expand my business and I jumped on that. I'd love to get back, be the sheriff, and show everyone that I can lead. We attend the Statesboro Primitive Baptist Church. We're members there, and God bless you and thank you.
All right, well, we're going to jump into the question portion here this evening. The first question, we'll start with Mr. Howard. Right now, by Georgia law, the sheriff's position is the highest elected position in each of our 159 counties. Currently, this position is a partisan. You got to qualify as a Republican or a Democrat. Mr. Howard, do you agree with that, or do you think maybe this should be a nonpartisan race?
That is an issue that has haunted me since my campaigns. As y'all know, this is my third attempt at running for sheriff. I ran as a Republican in 2012, and then in 2016, I looked at this thing, and when you get out here and you campaign for all the people, that you got to represent all people, whether it be a Primitive Baptist or a Republican or a Democrat or independent, Catholic, you got to treat everybody equal. But sadly, in the primary, they have got to choose either a party to vote for the sheriff, and that's up because of the legislators. Any sheriff you talk to, they want as many people as possible to vote for them. So in 2016, the only way to possibly do that was to run as a Democrat or independent to get to the November election, and that way people didn't have to choose by party, they could choose by candidate. I stepped up to the plate and run as that Democrat to get everybody a chance that something hadn't been done, like I said, in 30 years in Bulloch County, to vote for a sheriff without having to vote by party, so to speak.
Okay, Sheriff Brown, same question.
I feel like it should be nonpartisan for the simple reason that a sheriff serves all people. We don't ask you whether you're a Republican, Independent, or a Democrat before we deal with you. You've got a problem, we address it, we try to help you with it. If we get a call at your residence and you say you're a Democrat, we're going to come. If you're an Independent, we're going to come. Or if you're a Republican, we're going to come. So I do feel, and discussions happen for a long time about nonpartisan. A sheriff is a sheriff for all people, and this one definitely is. I deal with all people. I don't shun nobody. I step up to the plate and help them all.
All right, as a companion question with that, why did you choose to run as a Republican?
Well, at the time, I feel like a Republican can be conservative. I have a lot of conservative views, but as a Republican, I just feel strongly about work ethic, getting out and doing the right thing, staying on top of things, being interested in your firearms and your rights to bear and keep arms under the Second Amendment. I just feel like the Republican group, and to be honest with you, my mom and dad were Republicans. They were Democrats in the late 70s, but switched over as Republicans under President Reagan. I'll never forget that. But I just, roots run deep in our family as far as the Republican Party.
All right, Mr. Howard, same question.
Yeah, the Republican Party had kind of drifted away in some values I've seen, but under President Trump, it's come back. I voted cross ballot all my life. I've never really voted as straight ticket. Some people do that, and that's fine if you want to do that. I vote for the candidate. I feel that the candidates go represent, especially on the local. Your chances of running into President Trump or Governor Kemp are slim to none, but your chances of crossing paths with a sheriff is pretty high, whether it be at a restaurant or whether you need the help of the sheriff's office. So the Republican, I'm a conservative. I got the same values as anybody does as far as wanting to look after budget mindedness, and the Second Amendment is a no-brainer. There's certain things that we need to change, and if you look at the politics up in Atlanta or up in Washington, we can't compare ourselves with that in Bulloch County. We got to look after Bulloch Countyans because I trust you, Atlanta or Washington isn't going to be here for you as much as your sheriff and your local politicians are. Thank you.
Okay. As the sheriff here in Bulloch County, you are charged with enforcing the laws, but you don't get to make them. Mr. Howard, are there any current laws that you would like to see changed?
I don't think the telephone, from what I've read on that, the hands-free thing, I don't think it's got enough teeth. And a lot of people may not agree with me on that, but it causes a lot of accidents, distracted driving, whether you using a telephone or eating food or whatever it may be, reaching down to get something, putting on your makeup. But the telephone bill, I don't think has enough teeth. I think you've got to show that they're getting a warning before you can write them a citation. Another thing that I don't agree with, and there's several reasons for that, but in City of Statesboro, they decriminalized marijuana. Our jails, as we'll probably speak on tonight, are crowded. Misdemeanor marijuana could be a seed. Drug paraphernalia associated with that could be a little clip. And we decriminalize it, write them a ticket just like we do if they get a speeding ticket, and send them about their way. Showing up for court, don't show up for court. With these tag readers we got on these vehicles now, that'll get entered in the GCIC. Eventually they'll get caught.
Okay, Sheriff.
Repeat that question one more time.
As a sheriff, you are charged with enforcing the laws, but since you're not a part of the legislative body, you don't get to make the laws. Are there any changes you'd like to see to some of the current laws that are on the books?
A little stronger. I'm not going to really mention none or point one out, other than the fact that I feel like we've basically took enough in criminal justice reform away from certain things. I feel like what we need to do is we've got laws that's been handed down. We need to enforce them. We need to stand by them. We definitely don't need to belittle them. I mean, if it's something where you can be charged and you have to be arrested and charged with a misdemeanor, whatever it may be. In the case of marijuana that was brought up, I mean, that's a fingerprintable offense. I'm not going to cite somebody and release them on that. That's maybe a disagreement or whatever, but state law pretty well states that you will arrest and you will fingerprint. And at Bulloch County Sheriff's Office, we will. The Bulloch County Board of Commissioners, I have not seen them pass any ordinance having to do with basically making it all right to cite and release. So at this point, pretty happy with the law of the state of Georgia. My job is just to make sure they're being enforced.
Okay. Just the second part of that question, how about any kind of new laws? Is there anything that's not on the books that you think maybe ought to be on there? Something that may not be a criminal offense, but may need to be?
No, none that I want to bring up.
Okay. Mr. Howard?
We got more laws on the books now than we got people to enforce them. We just keep passing laws and passing laws and passing laws, and there's more laws than law people. So no, I'm fine with the way it is.
Okay. Second Amendment. We are the Republican Party. There's been a great debate from national to the state, all the way to the local level about Second Amendments, specifically with where you can carry them into churches, possibly, into school zones and different areas about that. What is your stance as a potential sheriff of Bulloch County on the Second Amendment, Mr. Howard?
I am pro Second Amendment 100% all my life. To be a law enforcement officer and not be pro Second Amendment would be ludicrous. I do think that we need training before somebody's permitted to carry that. I do think we need licensing. I'm happy that we're getting reciprocal agreements with states that we can cross carry those, especially being retired law enforcement and then being civilians. As far as carrying in restaurants, you see a lot of things where restaurants, certain businesses won't allow anybody to open carry or bring a firearm in. I see people sitting in these restaurants with these firearms on their side, and I think to myself, if I was coming in to rob this place and was scoping it out, that'd be the first person I would see as a threat. I think that if you want to open carry, carry it. But I think you'd be a lot better off concealing and carrying a firearm and not be at risk if a place was to get robbed. But that's constitutionally your right to open carry. I think the law's pretty stiff. Thank you.
Repeat the question, please.
Yes, sir. You know, being the sheriff here of Bulloch County and this being such a Republican county, there's a lot of support for the Second Amendment by the citizens. And I just want your general feelings on the Second Amendment, especially how you would deal with it as sheriff.
As a sheriff, that's part of my sworn oath.
Yes, sir.
To protect the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia. Having to do with the right to bear arms, I love to hunt, I love shooting sports, and home defense. I want us all to have it. Also, you think about it, as a nation, we make ourselves stronger, is that we can defend our own rights here under the Constitution and defend our nation. Our kids growing up learn how to use firearms. Folks, they're prepared already when they go off to the United States military. Heads above all the rest. There's a lot of countries that does not even allow people to possess a firearm. Now, caution. In reference to any type of red flag laws or whatever, without due process, this sheriff don't support any of that. Period. Another thing, outright taking of firearms from law-abiding citizens. My office, and we're in the deputies in that office, will take any part in that.
As a parent myself, and speaking with a lot of other parents, school safety is a topic that comes up all the time. There's a lot of debate about the best way of protecting our students at schools, you know, from metal detectors at the doors, of having resource officers, or even possibly having deputies at each of the schools all the time. What are your feelings about protecting our students as sheriff?
Well, as I promised, when I was running for sheriff in 2016, I already implemented school resources officers here in Bulloch County, and we've implemented one each year since. This year may not provide one, folks, so I'll go ahead and say that because of COVID and the pandemic we're dealing with. And how I mentioned that earlier, and I'm going to mention it again. There's going to be constraints for us to the budget. Now, school resource officers, ain't number one, best way to handle it. They're inside the school. Not only in there educating the children, but interacting with the children. They're right there in place. They know the operations of the school, they know the ins and outs, and also setting up training where our SWAT team and our deputies off-duty training inside of there, knowing different avenues and all what goes on in there without divulging any of what we do as part of that training, but becoming familiar with the schools. But know that I love them being in the schools. The teachers love them being there. The principals love them being there. Superintendent. I'll mention Todd Marston right now. He's public safety director for the school system, Board of Education. He's working well with trying to get some security aspects put in there, working well with our school resource officers that work for the sheriff's office and work for me. It's a work in progress, but I can tell you school resource officers work. They number one, they're there with the kids all the time, and they're taking time and educating them kids. Drug resistance, gang resistance, and basically just loving them.
All right, Mr. Howard, if you could share your feelings on school safety in the sheriff's position.
Yes, sir. In a debate in 2016 at the high school, it was announced then that Sheriff Anderson had worked with the Board of Education and started this program. And Sheriff Brown has continued it, and I praise him for that, working with the board. Our teachers, our schools, our children, our DARE program, I'd like to see champs dwelling in with that also, if possible. It's just a no-brainer. I mean, the society today has come to, we've got to show that we're going to protect our kids. They're our future, and they're our future leaders. The educational that Jimmy Billings and them are doing, Bubba, all those, is superb. Kudos to them, and we're going to continue it when I'm elected sheriff. We're going to look at expanding that program, the Explorer program. I was glad to see Sheriff Brown finally find the funding to get that going. That is a no-brainer also, to get our kids involved with our deputies. That also gets their parents involved, that gets their friends involved. It's just a domino effect, and then we're going to continue that and expand with it. Thank you.
As a quick follow-up, Mr. Howard. What are your feelings about teachers being able to arm themselves in the school system?
I believe Lawrence County's doing that. Maybe a couple of more counties that I can't remember right now, but as long as they've got the training, you know, the Board of Education's go bear that responsibility ultimately, and whatever they decide, I'll support them in any way.
All right, Sheriff Brown, how do you feel?
That conversation has been had with me with school superintendent, and again, that is his responsibility, not mine. Granted, we talked about several different ways that could be put in place or what have you, but again, that is a school board and a superintendent issue.
I'll ask the same question the same way, a different way. Do you think it would help or hurt you as sheriff if you've had armed teachers in the schools?
As long as they're trained, and again, as long as it's permitted by the school board, we would like to know that they're in there, because if something does happen, not to get too much into a tragic incident that could take place, but if somebody mistaken someone in there that, you know, a teacher or whatever, that would probably be the most horrific thing in our lives ever happened. Very dramatic incident is the fact that somebody be shot by accident. That's the only thing. As long as we knew who everybody was and we're working together, making sure people are trained, that's something that would be a benefit to us, because we got more people up there. Hey, strength in numbers.
Yes, sir. Mr. Howard?
Yeah, in an active shooter situation, it'd be a no-brainer to have somebody in there, you know, but in case that school resource officer's at the other end of a wing, or in not in a, you know, in an adjacent building, as long as they're properly trained, you know, that's something the sheriff's office can work with the board. We can actually put them in with our training at the firearms, incorporate that. Our school resource officers will know who at that school is trained and who's authorized by the board to carry a firearm. And when we do our active shooter training, work with those teachers and let them know their role in that, so we don't have any crossfire or miscommunication in an accidental shooting.
Okay. Mr. Howard, that's a large county. We've got almost 700 square miles, 1,400 miles of road, 700 of those, give or take, that are unpaved. This is a huge county, just to put it simply. What are some of the challenges that you see with that, and what are some of your ideas of having patrolmen out here? We got some of the feedback when we're doing some of these questions that people don't mind speeding sometimes on our roads because they feel like the chances of coming across a deputy are very limited just because of the size of the county and so many miles of road. If you could address that. Yes,
sir. Governor's Office of Highway Safety, I've reached out to them. Burke County participates with those folks. They'd be more than willing to come in and help us. They provide salary, vehicle, they help. You got to be transparent with them, because they go come in and look at your books and see where your problems are and what you're doing. Commissioners, they've got to get more deputies. I mean, it's the overtime issues, it's obvious. We need more deputies, and we got to figure out a way to budget that and get it done, whether it's through SPLOS or whatever. And we've got to offer a package for retention to keep these people and to get them come in, because everybody in law enforcement's having a problem finding deputies. Traffic unit, when a traffic complaint comes in to the sheriff's office, or when I was a trooper, you had to send somebody out there to patrol that road. Governor's Office of Highway Safety offers a board that shows a speed, but not only does it show that speed, but it records it. So instead of tying up a deputy out there, you can take and put that board out there, then go show the homeowner the speeds on there. You see what times you having that problem, and you can address it at a particular time. We zoned on the State Patrol. State Patrol, we zoned Bulloch County in the 4 quadrants, and we can do that now, I think, with the Sheriff's Department if we get the manpower. Otherwise, we're going to be understaffed. Thank you.
All right, Sheriff Brown, we're talking about the roads here in Bulloch County and just having so many miles of road and the challenges and that presents and some of the ideas that you may have.
I'm so proud right now of the men and women of the Bulloch County Sheriff's Office and how they patrol and serve the citizens of this county. Just this past go around, 34,000 calls for service in this county. And that's not just traffic complaints, folks. That could be an elderly person, which we respect our elders here in this county, may have fell in a living room, may be suffering from dementia, Alzheimer's, wandered off, a small child is missing, or merely your alarms went off at your house. Just like traffic complaints, we're going to come, we're going to address them. We also do have a type of speed detection recording device. It's a trailer, if you will, that marks your speed, tells you how fast you're traveling. We do move it around the county. What I want everybody to understand is what I have said from the very beginning when I run in 2016. You can work, you can do everything you want to do to work with a budget. But if you don't add people, you overtime in your budget is going to be over. Granted, wrapping up. They told me I don't have much time. I'm going to wrap this one up. Folks, it's like this. I support the men and women in this office and the money they make until we can add more people and try to somewhat rein in overtime. I stand by them and the money they make and the hours they make. I also say this. The reason why nobody else is being hired is because sometimes it's a lot easier to pay overtime and pay those health benefits that goes through a new hire and all what comes along with him. Thank you.
Yeah, in just a moment, we are going to get into more specifics about the budget, but finishing up this idea about roads, especially 700 miles of unpaved road, in regards to the budget and maintenance on these vehicles, does a dirt road present challenges on the maintenance of these vehicles?
We have found out using the pickups is doing a lot better, just like with all the storms that we've had over just about every year that I've been in there. Actually, the last year that Sheriff Anderson served, there's been a tropical storm or hurricane every year. Now we're dealing with, pandemic and the stuff that we had to deal with time there involved in that. But what I'm saying is with the dirt roads, it does. I mean, it's hard to get down some of these places and get back in there, but we found out with those type of four-wheel drive vehicles you can. Everybody does not have one. It's more durable. Comes time when mileage gets up on it, you actually have a better trade-in on it. Cars don't seem like they're holding the bag that they do, but they come in more handy with what we're dealing with around our county, with the rural aspect of it and those dirt roads. Sometimes you got to get around old field too if you have somebody to try to help and alleviate a problem.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Yeah, Dean, the commissioners have been fighting this road thing, and I think they've got it under control now to where they got a plan. I understand they're going back to ditching and they're going to go back to cleaning out these sewer pipes. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Even in my business, these dirt roads going around with these 550 trucks and 450 trucks and all. And you take a half-ton pickup truck like they're using or a car, will get bottomed out and get stuck trying to reply to somebody's need. So yeah, the commissioners are addressing these dirt roads and trying to get it better, no doubt, and it's going to help.
All right, since it's been brought up so many times so far, let's talk about money. The county commissioners have the responsibility of providing finances, either allocating them through SPLOST or through direct voting for the Sheriff's Department. And we may need a little additional time on this one because we're covering a lot of bases under one question. But what do you see as some of the biggest challenges to the current budget that the Sheriff's Department has in Bulloch County? Mr. Howard, if you'll.
The biggest challenge is manpower. We got to get manpower up to get overtime down. I mean, that's correlates with one another. If you don't get the manpower, you're not going to get the overtime down. We got to, look at whatever we can do to get these grants, to get these people here. We got to look at our commissioners. We've got to explain to them why we need this. We got to show them data. If you show them data can't be twisted. It's there. It's in their face. You can present that data to them, and if they don't react, well, then you go to the media with it and say, hey, my overtime's $1 million over budget, and this is why. You got to be transparent. And if you're transparent and everybody works together as a team, then you can make it happen. But if you don't do it as a team, one mule can't pull a two-bottom plow by itself. It takes a team to pull a two-bottom plow. And as your sheriff, we're going to work together not only to get this manpower up, but we got to look at the jail too. It's a problem. It's an issue that's got to be solved. It's got to be worked into the budget. The commissioners realize that. I think they were appropriating money to get the jail back up to par. And from what I understand, this problem come along with a radio system, and that put our first responders at risk because of the inadequate transmitters and stuff that couldn't be upgraded. So they took away, from what I understand, some of the money appropriated for this jail and went toward the radio system. But they have spent a little over $4 million adding some extra buildings to try to alleviate some of the overcrowding at the jail. So they're working to get the problem. There's never been an issue with public safety coming under budgeted. The budget will show you that they have always acquired enough money at the sheriff's office for safety. Safety's never been an issue. It's just been staffing issues. Thank you.
Sheriff Brown.
Quite simply this, citizens of Bulloch County. When we took over, first budget proposals and conversations with our county chairman, the county commission, and our county manager, it was made very clear that we would have to broaden the aspects of the sheriff's office, the jail, and the amount of services that we render to the county because of a growing county that we're dealing with here now. In the last couple of years, it is busting at the seams. Anybody involved in anything having to do with construction knows that this county is growing. I have said from the very beginning that they would need more people to operate what we're trying to do there, provide that service. To be able to get over time somewhat under control, folks, you won't never fix it in public safety. That's from 911 to fire to EMS to the Bulloch County Sheriff's Office. You provide a service, we're going to keep you safe, mandated by law to keep you safe, so we're going to have them out there taking care of you. I'm not going to leave a shift unmanned just because I'm worried about overtime. Because if they're out there working an incident for you, an accident, a home invasion, whatever, they don't need to hold the finger up and say, hey, hold on a minute, I got to get Charlie to come over here and take over for me. I got to go clock out. As your sheriff, my mandated responsibility is to preserve and keep the peace of Bulloch County. And if it means having overtime, we're going to have it until we can weed through getting the amount of staff, in reference to the buildings we have to staff, and the people on the road that we need to work this county. This is not a new conversation, nor is it one with fudge stats and all the above. I am glad to say if we went over on the overtime part, line item of the budget of the Bulloch County Sheriff's Office, that's the only thing we went over on. Thank you.
There has been some discussion of having more people in the jails out doing things in the community. Can you speak of any ideas that you may have of work camp or something along those lines, that people just aren't sitting in the jail all the time, but they're actually getting out and kind of paying their dues back to the community?
In reference to the work camp, that's actually a separate entity that falls under the county government. And Mr. Randy Tillman is your warden out there now that's brought in to run it and is doing a fine job. The discussion was had for a while about us actually taking over the camp, and that discussion's not over. I've heard rumor that it was said that the sheriff cut it off. I didn't shut it off. Conversation stopped. Building started on actually an intake area, training building, a new area for CID, and an evidence vault. But I'm so proud of the fact the conversation never stopped. But yet there was rumors that it did. I'll leave it just right here, folks. I am still open and willing to take the camp, but my conversation that was made so many times to the chairman, to the county manager, and the commissioners of this county was the fact that yes, I would take it, but it would not fix the problem. We still may have to have pods going on into the future. That means inmate pods for more population in the jail. Long story short, there was a plan that we come up with a fence line that would kind of separate us and public works, with a plan that we would actually take the camp and be able to add pods. But here's what happened. The inmate worker population might not have been the population they needed to provide the service to the rec department, public works, and other entities inside of the departmental aspect of Bulloch County government. Thank you.
Mr. Howard?
I did a take on this and quoted the county manager. And it was an article done in the Herald, and there was, I think, 40 bed spaces that they allotted to CI that they got rid of for the sheriff to use for prisoners to come out and work. And the county manager said that the wheel fell off the wagon and he didn't know why. So what I'm saying is, shortly after that was when the federal inmates was taken, because we were running supposedly at a risk of going over our capacity, which I think is 450, 60 inmates. We got rid of them. That's going to cost us $500,000 or more. The jail, we can get it where we can use inmates out on trash details and all, allocate those beds at the CI, use those. We can take and get our federal inmates back and get some, some money coming back in there. And then we can take and utilize all those to cut back on overtime and funds. As far as using inmates out on public, save taxpayers money, it's a no-brainer, and I'll do my best to get that program going. Thank you.
All right, just shifting gears here just a little bit. Through the years, we've had different police forces in this county: Register, Portal, Brooklet. What are your feelings about these different police forces? Do you think the sheriff's department should take over those cities, Portal, City, town of Register, some of these different areas? And also, along with that, have you ever considered consolidating with the Statesboro Police Department? Sheriff?
That's me.
Yes, sir.
No, sir. As a sheriff, the citizens of this county right here want their sheriff, and they want him to patrol the aspects of the county. That includes from the center of Statesboro in all different directions. To answer the other part of that question about municipalities, I respect and love each one of our municipalities. They have come to us and asked questions, wanted to talk to us about different ways they can handle things, but I always support them in the fact I want them to have their police department and serve the citizens of their small city limits, because they're all important to us. Now during the night sometimes, if there's nobody around, or during times where they may have troubles and nobody's working at all, we have sitting on city council meetings in some of these places. We have actually worked calls in these places for a period of time until they can get back on track. But I feel like in city governments, part of a little town that I grew up in Portal, I like the fact that you got police officers there that people know every day, just like they know the deputies, but still you got somebody you can count on every day that you know, that familiar face. And I agree with keeping it like it is, but I'm there if they ever need me to help patrol or do anything to assist.
Mr. Howard?
I agree with him on the city of Statesboro as far as having one municipality. No, let them keep their police department, and we'll keep our sheriff's department as it's structured now. As far as Register's part-time. I think they got maybe 3 part-time officers down there. So the sheriff's department has to go down there probably on a regular basis to help them out, being since they're a part-time entity. I'm sure that Chief Lundy and them have assisted the county as needed if officer wasn't close by from the sheriff's office on a call. I know for a fact Chief Jason Sapp in Portal has assisted the county on many instances. And I know for a fact that the Brooklet Police Department, I've talked to Chief Lee down there, and Lee has told me multiple assistance they have done, and it vice versa. The county's helped them. So yeah, they're an entity that needs to stick around. If they ever lose the charter and want to change something, then we'll look at taking it over for them. But Brooklet Police Department is in Portal and Registers an asset not only to their community but to the county as a whole, and I appreciate all they do.
Yes, sir. Mr. Howard, we're going to start with you on this question. Here recently, we had a tragedy in the loss of the life of of a gentleman in Evans County because of a shooting by a deputy. In terms of mental health issues and being in law enforcement, what are your ideas on handling mental health patients here in Bulloch County as sheriff?
I think they've got a great training effort going on. I'd like to continue that, expand it if possible. I will not, as sheriff, house any mental illness patients. It's a burden to the taxpayers. Taxpayers has got enough burden now. I will not house juveniles. The state has facilities for those. We're going to look at working with the doctors, getting these people when our deputies realize that they're dealing with a mental illness patient. We got to train the deputies that respond to the calls, that know what they're dealing with so they can act accordingly, de-escalate down if they have to and readjust what they're dealing with, never to put their life at risk just because this subject has mental illness. If he threatens them to harm, bodily harm to them or anybody around, then they're required by law to protect themselves and the citizens. But work with our staff, our training staff to get the training that we need to recognize these folks. Yes, sir.
Sheriff Brown?
Yes, sir, we do supply training, not only here locally, but throughout the state in reference to mental health. Ms. June DiPolito, big advocate for our sheriff's office, Statesboro Police Department, all of law enforcement, has assisted in many different ways of putting on training in reference to mental health. It's not only out on the street, folks, but also in our jail. And no, we cannot turn them away. When they come through the back door of the jail, we got to deal with them. One of the first calls that we make from Ms. June and the Department of Public Health, basically to come and help us. Behavioral health, excuse me. But the training that we have to detect these things is not only inside of our jail with our jailers, but out on our road with our deputies. And we've got some fine men and women that do very well with dealing with people that are mentally impaired. And they are a good bit as far as numbers here in Bulloch County. I have spoke with NAMI many times in reference to this matter. And they know that it's a passion of mine to basically make people understand it is a real and present problem, not only in our community with our deputies dealing with it, but also in our jail and our jailers dealing with it. Thank you.
All right, Sheriff Brown, this is kind of more of a personal question. If you were talking to a group of high schoolers, would you encourage them to go into public safety and to law enforcement, or would part of you direct them to a different career path?
All the time. When I speak to the young men and women in these schools, I tell them someday somebody's got to take our place. Because you know what? Some of us getting old and we're getting tired. And we don't know how long we're going to be around. But to have a kid to even show interest, like several have, want to come up to the office and spend a day maybe to shadow a deputy or walk around with one, or maybe just sit in the dispatch chair, the booking chair, just to understand how things work, just to see and feel the different aspects of what you do. Granted, they all love them cars and them lights and them sirens. But folks, that's a passion in my heart just to know one day, just like Mr. Howard, we're both going to be at the house and we're going to be old and tired. I pray that there's somebody at a younger age that'll come along and want to do what we did for a living. Thank you.
Mr. Howard?
CHAMPS program, DARE program, Explore, that's what gets our kids' interest up. A ride-along program, I wouldn't have nothing against that. Citizens patrol like the academy, like the police department's doing. If you get an adults in there, then they can go home and go back and instill some of that. That's why our reserve deputy program needs to be upgraded. We've got so many people, retired law enforcement, retired veterans that's living in our community that would come in and be able to fill some of these spots. Like I've said before, sitting at the school in the school zones with the blue lights on. But we can get our kids involved through all these extracurricular activities, after school projects, and if I'm asked, that's what I would ask, for them to do, is to get involved into an Explore program, CHAMP, DARE, and come out, ride with us, sit at the office, sit in the jail, and get it firsthand. And if they got the bug, they'll jump on it hand over foot. Thank you.
Well, both of you are running as Republicans. We live in a heavy Republican county. So it's most likely that one of y'all two is going to be our next sheriff, either re-elected or a newly elected official. As Bulloch County, we're going to have to work together. Mr. Howard, if you happen to lose this election, what are some positives that you could say about our current sheriff, Noel Brown?
Sheriff Brown has done this job to the best of his ability. He's gone at it and 100%. And you know, there's certain things he and I, at the end of the day, don't agree with. That's life. Do I think I can do some things better? If I didn't, I wouldn't be, running for this office. Do I think there need to be some changes? Sure. That's why I'm running for office. If not, why would I run? Why would I put my family and him and his family through this politicking for no reason at all, just for self-satisfaction? I got a passion to be in office, and that's why I'm running. Sheriff Brown has come in with his goals and his mind set the way to run it, and he's done the best that I'm sure he thought he can, or that he can, in his mindset. So I've got nothing to say against him personally or doing his job in a negative manner. It's just there's certain things at the Sheriff's Department itself I feel like can be run better, and that's why I'm running for office.
All right, Sheriff, if Mr. Keith Howard wins this primary and he is our nominee, what are some positives that you could say?
I didn't know y'all was going to ask this question tonight, but I thank you for it. What I would do is right here, number one, congratulate Keith. I've known Keith for many years. I remember when he was state patrolman, badge number 885. Worked wrecks with him, directed traffic for him. He's even helped us round up a couple or two, either at a gun point or rustling on the road or on the side of the road. Always been a help to us, and I appreciate this help. If he was to win this election and go on to the latter part of it and finish up and win it all, what I'd do is this right here, is I'd make sure that he got the training he needed up in Forsyth, the Georgia Sheriff's Association, in reference to the sheriff's school, which is required for all new sheriffs. He would be welcome in there, and we would get him a way to and from, is what I'm saying, to make sure he got it. I would not be that person, folks, and y'all in this county know me, that sit there and tuck tail, run, and cry. But I would congratulate him, thank him for his service, not only in the past, but the service he was about to provide, and be able to let him know that I would assist him in any way I could in him getting into office and making it a smooth transition.
All right, Sheriff Brown, obviously we don't know everything about the sheriff's position. Is there a question that you would like to ask Mr. Howard that we haven't covered already here this evening?
Just one.
Yes, sir.
Just one. If elected sheriff, you were given a choice to cut the services that the sheriff's office provides to the county, or cut the overtime budget, which one would you cut?
To cut the services, can't cut the services because we need more services now because we're understaffed. So we'd have to figure out a way to cut back the overtime, and to cut back the overtime, we're going to have to find grants, and we're going to have to find programs. We're going to have to find federal funds that we've lost, get those federal funds back. A way to get overtime, McIntosh County does it, Liberty County does it, is they allow off-duty work, traffic work to be done by their deputies, and their deputies still get overtime, but it's not at the taxpayer's pocketbook. So if we find a way to cut back and curtail this overtime through hiring of more officers, we can't take that overtime away completely from those because they need it to feed their families with. So we got to find a way to supplement the overtime they lose And one of the ways to do that is off-duty work. And by doing off-duty work, it takes it out of the pocketbook of the taxpayer. Thank you.
Sheriff, would you like to answer your own question? Would you like to answer your own question?
There is no answer to it. If you cut one, you cut the other. And I'm not cutting either one until we get the staffing levels where they need to be.
Mr. Howard, is there a question or an area that we haven't covered that you'd like to ask Sheriff Brown?
Not really, no, sir.
All right. Well, this time we're going to close with our closing statements. We'll allow Mr. Howard to go first.
Okay. In closing, again, I'm Keith Howard, and again, I'm asking you for your vote. As your sheriff of Bulloch County, I have the experience, honesty, and integrity, business leadership, and the energy to become your next sheriff. I have over 3,000 hours of law enforcement training, and I'm qualified to lead a stellar and a great group of employees for the years to come, and to do it with respect and transparency. My successful business background gives me the knowledge and hard-working skills to civilly work with the commissioners in a transparent and humbling manner to not waste taxpayers' money. My years of law enforcement training has instilled core values that I will use to work with other law enforcement agencies to ensure a safer Bulloch County, along with my passion to be a dedicated sheriff to the citizens of Bulloch County that will answer calls if needed, be side by side with my employees, never working by a time clock, but serving the community as it deserves. My goals include being reasonable to the taxpayers, balancing the budget, employee retention, and to actively engage criminals and drug dealers, working hand in hand with federal prosecutors to get these criminals off our streets. Utilize all resources when we have crimes committed. And when I talk about this, Miss Frankie Waters comes to mind. While I sit writing this, and I pray for her daily to find comfort from her missing son, Eric. This campaign has been different for sure by not being able to talk to as many voters face to face. I base my campaigns on facts and not attacks. Many as you know, my friend Jim Deal, his daddy, Mr. Bobby Deal, was a commissioner, and his granddaddy, Mr. Emmett Deal, was a chairman of the commissioners, holding the same title as Mr. Roy Thompson. Mr. Bobby gave me some good political advice down at the Portal Hunting Club one day. He said, no matter what your opponent does, run your campaign off of facts. Smart advice, and I have followed that, never attacking even when I have been, but furnishing undisputable facts. Jim had a great daddy and granddaddy that served Bulloch County proud. Please look at our Facebook page and website, KeithHowardForSheriff.com, for past and future videos and statements. Again, thank all on Georgia and all the Republican Party and everyone involved for this tonight. I appreciate Noel allowing me the opportunity to speak and keeping this thing clean, and because it's all about the citizens. It's not about me. It's just a passion to do the job. Thank you, and God bless.
Sheriff Brown.
To the citizens of Bulloch County, for the last 3.5 years I've served as your sheriff, and before that many years as a deputy, corporal and a sergeant, working on each and every one of you. A motto that I have, I guess a statement that I have, that the office of the sheriff is not about the sheriff. It's about the men and women of that office serving the citizens of the county. I feel like that we've went as a group above and beyond in 3.5 years to somewhat turn and bring the office close to where it needs to be going forward in reference to receiving the growth in this county as far as the amount of people moving in here and calling it home. I pray, as mandated by law, I have always kept you safe, kept you where you can sleep at night, even though I don't sleep at night, because I'm worried about y'all. I'm worried about the men and women out on the road working. To my family, I love y'all again for the fact that there's sleepless hours where y'all can't sleep because you're worried about me. A lot of people don't understand that I am out there in the middle of the night or on the phone dealing with a situation. Folks, I pray I've done all I could do for you. I want to continue to do that. So I'm asking for your support and re-election as your sheriff here in Bulloch County on June the 9th. Remember, I'm a sheriff for all people. I'm going to serve y'all, and I love you. God bless Bulloch County. God bless the state of Georgia. God bless the United States.
I thank both of y'all for handling this in such a civil manner here tonight, and showing kindness and compassion to both of you. And as a personal point of privilege as the moderator tonight, I know both of y'all are God-fearing, church-going people, and I just felt led here tonight to close in a word of prayer for both of y'all.
Sure.
And y'all turning in, if y'all can join me in a moment of prayer here tonight. Lord, we just pause in the busyness of this day, just so thankful for the blessings of life that you've given to us, for the grace and the mercy and the forgiveness that you continue to show to us. Lord, we have with us here two men, Lord, that love you and serve you, Lord, in their personal life and their professional life. And Lord, we're so thankful that we have candidates such as these that are willing to proclaim your name, Lord, as they go out and do their business. And Lord, we just ask now that your hand will be upon them and their families. Lord, this is difficult to get out and campaign, and Lord, having children and spouses, Lord, hearing negative things about them. But Lord, it has shown great courage by them of putting their name on the ballot. And Lord, we have to remember those in law enforcement, those working in the medical field here in the hospital at East Georgia. Lord, we ask a great blessing upon them, upon these deputies, upon these police officers, upon the EMS and the firefighters, Lord, and just ask your hand of protection to be among them. And Lord, as always, we come to you just so thankful for everything that you've done and the way that you have blessed Bulloch County. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
And again, we thank you for tuning in tonight. We hope this has been very informative. This video will be made available very shortly, and we invite you to share this video with your friends and family as we prepare to go vote on June 9th. Thank you.